This is Rise and Thrive, a mini-series from Scared Confident where we highlight the stories of 7 remarkable women as they learn to stand tall in their story. In this episode, you'll hear from Emily Perry, Executive Director at Susie's Place.
So my mom always gets mad at me when I talk about my horrible, terrible, no good, awful haircut that I had throughout my entire childhood. If you can imagine, I was a little on the shorter side, a little on the rounder side, and I had this thick, stick straight, dirty blonde hair and a legit bowl haircut. It looked like my mom had put a bowl on my head and hacked her way around my hair. It was awful. I don't think I realized at the time just how bad that haircut was, but I am 100% sure that it is the number one reason for most of my childhood turmoil. When I was 5 or 6 years old, I was going to the library. I was being my kind little self, walking up to the library, and I held the door open for this little old lady. She bent down as sweet as could be and patted me on the head and said, "What a sweet little boy you are." And I was crushed. For my 12th birthday, we went to Cheddar's restaurant. Super cool restaurant, had these big fans in the ceiling and these giant fish tanks. I was so excited. We had gotten a new outfit. It was a little skirt and a top. I had just gotten my ears pierced, which was a super big deal. I was just on top of the world. The waiter came around, and since I was 12, I was ordering for myself. It was probably some chicken tenders and fries. And the waiter said, "Thank you, sir." And I was crushed. So I had probably been called a boy maybe 50-ish times in my childhood, and I blame it on that damn haircut. So remember at the beginning when I said I was a little on the rounder side? That may have been slightly understated. Growing up as a chubby kid with a bad haircut in the 80s was awful. I would actually probably say growing up as a chubby kid with a bad haircut in any decade is probably awful, but the 80s was really tough for me. I will say I did have a lot of friends. And when the 80s came, it really developed my affinity for talking on the phone and the introduction of three-way calling. Do y'all remember three-way calling? So you could talk to 2 friends at the same time when you were three-way calling. But three-way calling did have a dark side. Because you could three-way call someone and they didn't know the other person was on the phone. Y'all probably know where this is going. And you are correct. So my friend and I decided that we would three-way call a boy. He was cool, and I so wanted to be cool. So the agreement was she was going to call and do all the talking, and I was the listener. She called. They were chatting. He said, "What are you doing tonight?" And she said, "I'm spending the night at Emily's house." And he said, "How can you even fit in the house with her? She is so fat." It was tough, y'all. That one hurt. So I had been called fat a lot of times in a lot of different ways. But that one really hurt. So in all honesty, that shitty haircut and that three-way call experience were just reminders of what was a really hard time in my life. It was littered with lots of hard things that were happening. And I'm going to guess that each of you probably have a shitty haircut or a three-way call experience too. So I will tell you what I did. I pushed down all of those really hard things, and I just kept moving forward. I did not take time to investigate what those things meant for me because I didn't want to feel it. And I cannot unpack for you in 7 minutes all of the things that have led to this moment. But the first chance I got, I buried that little girl away, and I focused my eyes forward, and I just worked to start achieving. I played sports at the collegiate level. I got a master's degree. traveled across the country twice for my career. I got married, had 2 amazing boys. I started a nonprofit organization called Susie's Place. It has grown and flourished because we have rock star people on our board. I became noticeably accomplished in my field, and I've won lots and lots of awards. So ironically, what I chose to do for a career is I am a child forensic interviewer, which means I investigate crimes against children. I talk to kids every day about their really shitty childhood experiences. Every time I go in the room with a kid, I want to be 100% sure that they feel seen, that they feel heard, that they are safe, that they know that they are valued and important. And for my own children, I know the greatest gift that I can give them is the gift of a childhood where they know what it feels like to be loved and to love themselves wholeheartedly. And I know that my parents wished that for me too, but somewhere between that shitty haircut and that 3-way call experience, I started to feel really ashamed of that little girl. When I was getting ready to tell this story, to prepare this, I was out to dinner with some of the ladies, and I showed them a picture of that 9-year-old girl on my phone. And one of the ladies was like, "Why would you have that out? Why is that so easily accessible? Why are you showing that around?" And I know she was saying that because she was trying to protect me from re-traumatizing myself again and again by looking at that chubby little girl with the shitty haircut. But what she didn't know is that I don't want to forget that little girl. I don't want to look at that picture and feel sad or ashamed, embarrassed or upset. I want to look at that picture and I want to love that little girl. I want to love her because she is me. And if I could go back and talk to her, this is what I would want her to know. She will make it through all of her hard times. I see her. I value her. She is a part of me that deserves love. She is kind and smart and strong and resilient. And above all, I'm going to make a promise to her that I'll never bury her away or feel ashamed of her again.
No matter where you are in your journey, community is so key for where we're all going. And I'm on a mission to reach 100,000 people with this message of being scared confident. So I would love it if you would share your favorite episode with your friend. Just pull up your text, send them a link. It'll take like 2 seconds. The show isn't about me. It's about helping other people on their journey of living full and complete lives. When we step totally into an understanding of our fear, we can step fully into our stories. As a thank you, I'm giving one fear interview to a listener. Put your name in the ring by texting me the word fear to 317-350-8921. The word fear, F-E-A-R, to 317-350-8921. And over the next couple weeks, we will pick one person to go through the fear interview. Thanks for listening.